about how you can duplicate an angle. So in order to be prepared for the video, please make sure you've got a compass or this kind of compass. Please make sure you've got some sort of straight edge, either the edge of the compass or a protractor's edge. Have a pencil, maybe some highlighters, and let's get going. Page 233, by the way. So in this lesson, it's relating to what we need to do in mathematics by modeling with mathematics and using appropriate tools in a strategic manner. It's connected directly to the learning goal, use construction tools to duplicate an angle. That's what we're gonna do. So if you think about where this lesson fits in, it's right there. Not only can you copy a line segment using construction, which we've done, copy a line segment with one of these compasses, or you use the span in these compasses to determine how long or how much it is, or you just straight up measure it, how many inches or millimeters is that line segment. Use a straight edge. What we're gonna do now is talk about how we can duplicate an angle, literally the title. So in order to do this, I'm gonna go ahead and maybe acknowledge a couple of steps. So I'm gonna read them out loud and then I'm gonna actually follow through and create them. So I've actually got some extra paper on the side. Maybe you get some of those resources and you practice this and then slip this paper into your workbook where we do. Construct a starter line. So that's the first thing right here. Notice that they don't, it's just gotta be big enough. Use a straight edge to construct the starter line, label point C on the new line. That's gonna be the vertex. All angles have a vertex, so we're gonna take that vertex and move it to its new location. Construct an arc. Construct an arc with center A. Using the same radius, construct an arc with center C. It doesn't say how big that arc must be, it just has to be a certain distance, and then once you create it, you go to the other angle and create it again. Construct another arc, but this time the arc that you construct has to go across from one part where your original arc was created on the angle to the other ray, and then you're gonna move that to this other line. What you're trying to do is, without really specifically using the measurement on a ruler, you're trying to measure. So this is the device that preserves distance, how much space there is. And then last of all, we're gonna construct a ray, and then that will conclude the angle that we've copied. I've also got some patty paper just to be like, if you don't believe me that I did it right, or that you're doing it right, you could at the very least, when you're done, check your work by actually doing it, like copying the angle. Let's get into it. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna set this aside. I'm gonna bring in this paper. I am gonna remind us of those instructions, all right? So here we go. Start off by actually creating a random angle. And so that angle will be along an edge. Here we are, there it is. It's got a little vertex on the corner. All right, make the angle, you don't go ham on it, just kind of go enough where it's like, all right, there it is. It's spread out like that. That's my angle. We'll call it angle A, all right? Now I'm gonna take those instructions. I'm gonna take these instructions right here. I'm gonna go through all 4 steps and turn this angle into a new angle in a new location, all right? So step 1, all right? Step 1 is to draw a line. So it doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter how big you make that line, just somewhere else, draw a line. And in the example, they even put little arrows on the end. All right, cool. Step 2, so there, label point C on the new line. Still in step 1, so we're gonna label point C. I guess they put A right there, and then they didn't even number the angle at all. It just was like angle whatever, right? Angle 1, okay? So take point C, and there it is. So now we're gonna construct an arc. And so I'm gonna use this big bad boy. You can go to Walmart and pick one up for maybe like $4 or $5. It'd be worth it if you do. If not, you're certainly welcome to use these devices. I'll show you with this one in some later steps here, but I wanna make a perfect one right now for this video. So I'm gonna put the center of the compass, that's the sharp needle point, or the circle part, on point A. And then I'm gonna open up the compass just big enough. I mean, I don't need to make it be too small or too spread out because it's gonna be cumbersome, but just like a decent, like that much. And then without changing the compass at all, keep that same size. I'm gonna go down to point C, and I'm gonna construct an arc with center C. So about the same amount of space. I'm gonna do that right here. Okay, something that will be erased eventually. Okay, that's steps 1 and 2. There you have it. So now step 3, if I'm reading right here on the screen, construct another arc. And the way that we construct another arc is we're gonna go to this original angle, point B and point D. I didn't know where those were until I actually created it with the compass. And I'm gonna use my compass, I'm gonna open the compass just wide enough so that one point is on B and the other point is on D. And with my compass, I'm gonna go down to the other where I'm gonna try to draw the duplicate angle. And I'm gonna put the metal part of the compass, the center part, this part of the school one, right? I'm gonna put that on this location and I'm gonna draw just a little tiny arc right there. It does not have to be big at all. It just has to be enough to show that it crosses the original arc. Put a point where they cross, put a point where they cross, call that E, call that F. Label points B, D, and E, B, D, and E. Construct an arc with a radius, the length of BD, that's done. And then at center E, do the same thing, construct that same arc right here. So I guess they did draw the arc in, I'll do that. But then we took this over to the new angle and then draw it in. Step 5, construct the ray. And guess what? These two angles are both angle 1. They're both the same length. It's in a new location, so maybe it's 1 prime, but they are the exact same angle. We can measure their angles span with a protractor. I get approximately 48 degrees. It's a 48 degree angle. And then if I come down to here and I put the center on there, line it up. Did I do it right? 30, 40, 47 degrees. I'm human. I made a small, like 1 angle degree mark. I'll just call it 48 and be good with it. Let's bring back in the book, right? We're going to do that exact same thing. We're going to duplicate angle B and then verify with patty paper. So in order to do this properly, we're going to need to extend the lines. So I'm going to extend the line right here, extend that ray out that far, and then I'm going to extend this ray out far enough because, I mean, they're arrows. They go out forever indefinitely, which means we are just moving forward. Okay, I took the steps away because you can look up the book and see what they are, but step 1 says construct a starter line. So somewhere down here, I'm going to draw my starter line, maybe like on a little bit of a tilt so it feels authentic. And then put point C on that starter line. Okay, there it is. There it is so far. Step 2, construct an arc. So on the original angle B, I'm going to, let's use the school one. I'm going to construct an arc of a certain size. And so I'm going to move my span a little bit, pinch and zoom. I want it to stick. I don't want it to like slip while I'm using it. You'll find some very annoying people come along and they go, and they move the compass. And that makes it actually quite challenging to do this. In fact, did my compass change in size? It did a little bit. So swing it back up, swing it back up, swing it down. I'm going to say that this was the mistake. Okay. So then I'm going to do that exact same thing over here. I'm going to draw a circle. And my circle is going to start there, swing it up. Be really light, a really light touch. It will help with creating this and not making too many big old mistakes. Okay, now I need to do label this point E. This is point E right here. And then we have point D and then G, all right? So I'm just making up letters just so I kind of match the directions up above. Now, in order to get the next piece, I'm going to have to use the compass. The center will go on this original arc that I drew across the angles. And so I'm going to bring my face up in here. Here we go. And so I'm going to put this here, and then I'm going to move the span of the compass out so that it is all the way out to the other place. Like the arc swings around and crosses the other arrow. I want my compass to be that big. So move this, a little adjustment. I think I've got it. I think you can see the point G is in that little hole. You can see that point D is in this hole. Check the alignment again. Pretty solid. And so let's go ahead and bring that information over to this graph. Point E, I'm going to draw a little arc right here. So pen that down. It does not have to be a big arc, just big enough. It looks like they cross right there, so we're going to call that F. And then draw the ray that starts from the vertex C and goes through F. I mean, those look pretty well the same size. Like they're the size they need to be. So in order to prove it, we can measure the angle. I showed you that already in this video. Here's the other proof. You can just literally trace the angle, do a little translation, maybe a little rotation, and it's off by a little bit. It's off because these things, they're garbage, but they do the job. I mean, if you want to be precise, spend the money, go get one of these. We'll use it periodically throughout the year, and if you take care of it, it'll last for you. All right, that's all of page 233. I hope the video edit worked all the way through for you. Please feel free to get this done as part of the work you need to do. Page 234 is next. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.